Radical Radio presents Radical Talk with the Think Tank. What is radicalism? Radicalism is the beliefs or actions of individuals, groups, or organizations who advocate for thorough or complete social and or political reform to achieve an alternative vision of American society. Join us as we engage in conversations regarding radical changes to lifestyles as they relate to physical, mental, and social well-being in North Chicago, Illinois. And let us know if these changes can relate to your city too. Listen, join the founder of the North Chicago Think Tank, William Coleman, and the founder and host of the Radical Radio podcast for our also radical discussion. Let's go, y'all. Hey. Y'all already know what time it is. It is Wednesday evening, and it is Radical Talk with the North Chicago Think Tank. So I want to thank you guys for joining us this evening. I do want to go ahead and start and let y'all know who and what the North Chicago Think Tank is. The North Chicago Think Tank is a policy research, reform, and advocacy focused project aimed at improving the quality of life for citizens of North Chicago, Illinois, by building and growing local power, creating spaces for Black imagination and innovation, and centering Black joy. When I tell y'all, listen, I get a little run through, beforehand, before we come live, and I'm excited because I know this is about to be some fire, okay? No cap. This is about to be some fire tonight. For those of you that are joining us, what we are doing is, the North Chicago Think Tank, again, they are aimed at, bringing some different idealisms to North Chicago, Illinois. But the good thing about this is the things that we're speaking on, you can do them anywhere. You can bring them to your own community if you feel led to. So Billy has made sure that, he gives us instruction and gives us a lot of insight on how we can make our communities better. So that is what this these bonus episodes are for. We've collaborated, and it's just a great collaboration. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started because I'm extremely excited about the content that we are bringing tonight. Billy, what's up, bro?
How are you? Happy Black History Month.
Yes. It is Black History Month, and we don't celebrate, Black history just in the month of February. For us, we always make sure that we celebrate who we are. It's important that we don't just limit to what they gave us. All right. We don't have to be limited to what they decided to give us to make us feel better, y'all. We can celebrate every single day if we choose to. Yes. So, Billy, let's go ahead and get into this because I'm excited. I was like, oh, whoa, what's going on today? So listen, the first question I'm going to bring to you is about cultural guardians. So first, let's start out with talking about what is a cultural guardian.
Okay, this came from, if you've been following the show or you've been following my Instagram page, Black and Abroad Official, you know that for the past 12 years, I've been traveling around the world and meeting, new people and going into different cultures and kind of just understanding how things work in different environments, Asia and Latin America and Europe and other places. And I'm still learning. And this definition isn't the official definition, it's just what I've seen and what I think is Chicago.
Okay.
So, cultural guardian in the spaces that I've been in, it's someone who is trusted and believed and revered in the community. Like when they say something, it is official. There's no arguing about it. Like it just is what it is. But they really have a firm grasp on the heritage of that particular space and the cultural values that benefit that space, right? So it's like the flame of the people, and they make sure it goes out, right? And the last time we spoke, we were talking about the roles that we think are important for a thriving community, for a prosperous community. And today I really wanted to focus specifically on cultural guardians.
Right.
are so important because they, well, we'll talk about it later, but that's what they are. They can be
Got you.
any gender, they can be a whatever, but they have those qualities. They are revered in the community. They're respected. They are listened to. They're trusted, and they
Mhm.
firm grasp on the collective heritage, values of the community that they're within. That they're
Absolutely. That is dope. That's exactly what I was thinking. In my mind when I heard it. It's just it's a dope term. It just it makes you feel as if, you know, somebody within your community can be that person that just kind of embodies what, our community should look like, or what we should, try to get our community to look like, and just have, different ideas. Angela, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. For those that just joined and didn't get to see us last week, I just want to reiterate, we're talking about defining and demystifying community duties and roles required to facilitate healthy approaches to extreme changes in existing views, habits, conditions, or institutions aimed at helping improve physical, mental, and social well-being in North Chicago. And last week, or last time we were on, we were talking about, what roles should we see in our community to make sure that they are thriving, prosperous, and flourishing. And for those of you that have been following us, the three key terms that we started out was the thriving, prosperous, and flourishing. What does that mean? That just gives us the idea that we could be doing a whole lot better. Things can be a lot different in our communities, and we have the power to put these type of things in place in our own community. One of the good things that we did talk about last time we were on is what it should look like, what you want your community to look like. And we asked the question of you all, what would you want your community to look like? And I know when we were talking, Billy, we were talking about just, how elderly couples could be walking down the street holding hands, how kids would be outside playing, and, families would be outside gardening, or, planting things, or just seeing that joy and that happiness exuded, in our community. That's what we would like to see, right? So, I just wanted to give you guys a idea of where we're going, because now we're talking about, okay, who is that person? Who could be that person in your community that could be the cultural guardian? And I'm going to go ahead and go a little step further. Why would it be radical for the Black community to have one? So we're talking about the Black community. Why would it be so radical for the Black community to have a cultural guardian?
And the reason why it would be so radical for the Black community to have a cultural guardian is because the cultural guardians were purposely removed from the, right. So if you look at these different communities, whether it's a Black community, indigenous community, or a community of people of color, there is colonization, and there's someone that comes in and they say they've got something valuable, whether it's minerals, whether it's their way of being, whether it's their physical bodies, and they're like, I want that. I need to take that from them, right?
Yeah.
We've seen people who in other countries, they fight against that, right?
Yeah.
And they gain their independence, and they kind of kick those colonizers out.
Right.
You look at, like, even in Mexico, right? Spain tried to come for them, and France tried to come for them, and they fought, and they were like, no, the same with, India. India was colonized by the British, and, they're like, you need to get out. But the thing about Black people is that we're still on stolen land, which makes it um, delicate. Because you have the people who oppressed us are here with us, right? Because there was never this, like, okay, we have our freedom and we're no longer under your oppressive thumb, so we're going to move you, we're going to move away from you. We're still very much connected, right?
Yeah.
So still in the ongoing process of siphoning the value of Black people away from Black people without them getting that benefit. Whether you look at the way in the sports industry, if you look at the way we're handled in the music industry, if you look at the way we're handled in the fashion industry, the way we're kind of marketed away from certain industries, like medicine and science, like there's this really lack of ability to harness our culture and say it's ours. Even if you look at, there's some recent stuff coming out about a woman, an Asian American woman who her name is her stage name is Aquafina, and Aquafina is coming under a lot of heat because she was using a black voice to get her start in movies, and now that she's kind of gone into more serious roles, she's dropped that. Right?
Wow. Yeah.
So like you took kind of like this characterization of a black person and you used it the way you wanted to and you benefited, and now it's nothing. Like, what have you done for the black community? And so with all that being said, that's why it would be so radical, because it would be the first time in a long time where someone has stood up and said, no, you can't take that. That's
yeah,
right.
That's ours.
It's are our recipes. These are our dances. These are our clothes. These are our way of speaking. This all. If you went to a powwow right now, like if you went to a Native American powwow, there are very specific things that are for them.
Yeah.
Their culture. If you went to a space where there were Hasidic Jews, or you went to a space where there were, I don't know, someone from from India, or one of the states in India, they would have very dress, very specific food, very specific language, and we have that too. But we've not in a long time. They used to be here, but we haven't in a long time. Someone say that's ours.
Right.
It should be protected, and it should be passed on to our children.
There you go.
Grabbed and taken for whoever can benefit from it. No,
right.
Ours, we generate it and then we pass it. So a lot of people stand to lose a lot if Black people start to have cultural guardianship. If you start to have people stand up and say, no, quit coming in here just taking this and doing what you want with it and doing that. And so I think that's why it would be so radical, but it's also why it's so necessary. It's
absolutely. Now, and that's great. And I feel you wholeheartedly on that. Hey, Elle, thank you for joining us. I feel you wholeheartedly on that, because I'm gonna put a pin right there, and I'm gonna say this. I was talking to one of my sons. He's 23, right? And I noticed that they spend so much money on these labels, right? So there's a label called Purple, and then there's another label called Amiri, right? And that's what the young kids are, the young cats, that's what they rocking today, right? So my question to them immediately, because I see them spending $100 to $200 on, jeans, and then I see them spending $60 to $100 on a t-shirt. And my question was, do you even know who make it? No, it's just tough. You know what I'm saying? But then I had to let them know, like, these two labels are made by Europeans, right? And there's so many of us that are now getting into the place where we're building our own brands and we're building our own fashion lines and things like that. And I just had to tell them, like, y'all spent all this money on, again, people that oppressed us. That's where your dollars are going. Why not put those dollars back into, our people, put those dollars back into our community? Because when you spend money with your own people, then that money goes back into their family. It can go back into our community. And we so hooked on labels. And I think it's because I think for us, a lot of us feel like we want them to know that we can.
For sure.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I want you to know that I can go rock some Gucci. You feel what I'm saying? And that's whatever. But at the end of the day, I feel better rocking a Radical Radio sweatshirt than I feel rocking Gucci. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I've gotten to a place where I'm like, yo, I want to make sure that I'm supporting, like I've seen you go to pop-up shops and spend. You know what I'm saying? I've seen, plenty of people that we are around that go out and they make sure that they're putting money back into their community. And this again is why it would be important and why it would be so radical for us to have a cultural guardian, because that cultural guardian would be able to explain and really hone in on why we need to do these things. And like you said, it would be someone who is reverenced, someone who is respected, someone who, we would listen to. We need that. We definitely need that.
And to kind of piggyback and even amplify that, the cultural guardian also challenges notions in the youth that don't make any sense, right? So if you look at just the way marketing works, right?
Yeah.
Some cultures where they protect their children from all that marketing. And
Mm-hmm.
no, stop looking at that. They're telling you that their stuff is better than your stuff.
Yeah.
And they're encouraging you to spend your money with them because they're peer pressuring you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Guardians, you have that voice of reason that says, listen, I get it. You think that this brand is all that in a bag of chips. I used to think that rocking Avrix and RP55 and Pelican.
Oh yeah.
But my dad was like, they even like you?
Thank you. Do they like you?
They don't like you. They don't acclimate wealth. They don't want you to be secure. They don't. This is historically true. Because if they did like you, there would be a presence of people like you on their leadership boards. There would be a presence of people like you in their business. Like even if you look at people who are getting called out for their behaviors during Black History Month, they're calling out one for printing out all of these Malcolm X t-shirts.
Yep.
Printing all of these, Black focused gear so that people can continue to spend money with them under the guise of Blackness, but is really going into white pockets.
There you go.
I think we really have to just start challenging ourselves, but that only happens when you set someone up who can be revered. Where something, it's not this long drawn out debate, right?
Yeah.
Going back and forth with them about, well, I don't care what you think, blah, blah, blah. No, this is what's best for us. And
this is what we're collectively going to do. Because our cultural guardian, because we respect that person, because we want to hear from that person, and they set the tone for how we move in our community, we're gonna listen to him. You get what I'm saying? Or her, So yeah, that's it right there, y'all. So let's talk about, what does a cultural guardian role look like in your vision of a flourishing community? I think we kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's go a little deeper.
Yeah, this I really want to push this question out to the community, that we can push that, because we have to ask why we don't listen to our elders, or why we don't listen to the people who used to be the cultural guardians, right? We in districts like Waukegan, North Chicago, and Zion, we're still struggling with a lack of respect for teachers and a lack of respect for educators and administrators. And we have to ask, okay, if you don't want to listen to them, who will you listen to?
Who will you listen to?
They look like, sound like. We have to listen to someone. Just respect, right? If we're going to be moving and making changes, somebody got to be held accountable. So in my vision, this person or group of people is not only book smart, but they are street smart. They understand the value of the way of living as research that is being done around their way of living. They are nuance of the community they hope, right? So if someone's like, well, they need to be educated. Well, some people might think that a lot of education is not really benefiting the Black community. You have to have someone who understands all of the streams of knowledge.
Yeah.
I also think that this person or this group of people has to be a listener. Like, they have to be an active listener, and they can and they're wise, so they can say, we were gonna go left, but we're gonna go right, and this is why. This is communicate vision very well. They can articulate in many different tongues. meaning they know how to speak to everyone in the community. There's no that person says, well, I don't relate, I don't like to speak. They know how to speak to everyone. It's a transitional role, like we said about the other role. Like,
Bro, I think you breaking up.
Has to be.
Hold on a second. Hold on, guys. Everybody that's in here, if you can hear Billy okay on your end, let me know. If he's breaking up, please let me know as well, because it looked like it kind of got a little worse. Go ahead, bro. Now? Okay, I can hear you now. Great.
Sorry, guys. I'm in Mexico, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, y'all know Billy is he's elsewhere. He's not around here. Okay, with us.
Yeah, the role should be transition. It should transition. It should go from like one person to another person over a period of time, so that everybody in the community understands the pressure of that role, the responsibility of that role, and why for it to be pure.
Yeah, that's real good. The one thing that I want to bring up, because at growing up, I'll speak for me. Growing up when I was younger, a lot of the pastors had this type of influence, right? But now it's like, hey, North Shore Ministers Alliance, they ain't even trying to hear from you because they don't see you out and about when times get rough. You know what I'm saying? Or they see you out and about when the news comes around. So a lot of our people in the community ain't even checking for like pastors no more. Like you said, we're not really trustworthy of elected officials. We're not trustworthy of teachers and education administration and things like that. So one thing that I love that you said is it has to be someone who is street smart and who is also book smart. Reason being is because one thing that I want to add is that it has to be someone that knows how to be a servant leader, like serve and lead, not just lead, because this ain't going to be a dictatorship. As you stated, the guardian would have the ability to listen. And even if there was a plan in place, and as they're listening, something needs to be tweaked, they would do that. So I really think that this would be something that, would only benefit us in our communities to put that in play, right? How would this is it. How would we, because we are a special people, okay? We are really a special people, okay? When it comes to unity amongst my brothers and my sisters, that is something that, I always feel like it's going to be one brother and one sister at a time, one brother and another sister. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just going to have to build, on our circle, and we just going to have to keep building on it. But what would that look like coming from our community to come together and really be able to, get this type of person in our community? What would it take?
So what I think it would take, it starts with time, right? Mm-hmm. Because I've noticed that my level of interaction in the community with advocate work comes from my sacrificing time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of brothers and sisters don't have time. Like when you're oppressed economically, when you're oppressed racially, like mm-hmm. when you're oppressed because of your gender, whatever, you're just trying to make it.
Yeah.
Working and you're tired for the majority. Mentally, not only physically, but mm-hmm. mentally. So you have a lot of people who have the desire to assist and the desire to promote this unity, but they're just so tired and they don't.
Yeah.
So what I think is that we're gonna have a where we use is come to Jesus, where we all say, who is privileged enough with who got it, right? Who has that time, and whoever has it, okay, y'all sacrifice it in the beginning and let's put some stuff together And then let's create a mechanism that makes it as easy as possible for people to contribute their thoughts or their vote, if you will, on the next steps moving forward. Because if you look at the school board, you look at the city board meetings and all these things, people just don't have the time. They don't have bandwidth. They don't want to sit through a 2 hour discussion about something. They literally want you to say, what do you need from me?
Yeah. What you need from me so I can give it to you and I'll be out your way.
Right. And say, okay, if you have an hour, you come sit at the meeting, and you can sit through it, and you feel like you have the mental capacity right now to stress to handle that. But for people who don't, you need to give them like a TikTok. You need to give them a 30-second blurb so they can understand that at this meeting we talking about A, B, C, and D. And I
Right.
to make your selection, or I need you to ask a question in this way. And I think that's the thing. We look at our time, and then we start to design mechanisms that make it as easy as possible for people without time to contribute to it.
Got you. Now, we've been in some meetings now, bro. We gonna keep it all the way funky. We're gonna be transparent on this one right here because I'm totally 100, 1000% down for a cultural guardian. I think it would be absolutely positively amazing, right? But we have been in some meetings with, people who have desires to do things within the community and really, have great impact and great movement in the community, right? But I feel as if, how could I say, I'm trying to say this the right way. I feel as if all of our mindsets have not shifted to something of this magnitude, because that means that you would have to relinquish, and push yourself down to build someone else and give someone else the platform up here, right? I know me. I'm good. Like, hey, you want to be the guardian, and you want to be the person to take this on. That is amazing. What do you need me to do? However I can support you, I will. Whatever I can do, I will sit in these meetings for 2 hours, 3 hours. And we talking about change that's going to affect the community. I'm there. But how is it that we could get on the same page when we're not all, and we don't all have to, I'm not saying we all have to think alike. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying at some point we all have to have the same mindset to say we want to change our community, and not just change it for the benefit of what we as a person feel like our community needs, right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I think that's the other piece too. Like, so when I was in Thailand and I was, trying to understand monk culture, right? Like, at a certain point, every person has to contribute some time, and they have to become a monk for a while, and they have to shave their head and go do the precepts. And I think, it's tough because we've grown up in a very hyper capitalist society. We Something needs to be a profit to me for me to want to do it. And we have to understand that the cultural guardian is more evolved than that. It's not about saying this is a position that I can use to make me some money.
Yeah.
Position that I can use to even make me have some sort of social hierarchy. That's not what it is. A cultural guardian is so lowly, like they're literally putting everyone in the community above them.
Yeah.
They're so responsible.
Right.
Like, something bad happens based on some advice that you're giving, if something bad happens based on something that you put out for the community, you have to be willing to be held up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when we talk about those value statements, right? We still struggle with like establishing our values as Black people, right? As saying like, what do we value the most?
We asked that. Remember, we was asking that question. That was like $1 million question to say, what do you want?
And honest, and this is where again that cultural guardian has to understand the nuances of the culture they're trying to assist, right? Because when you're oppressed, you do want security. We can't be mad at you about that. Your land has been stolen. Your identity has been stolen. We're really in an unstable place as displaced Africans. That's how I describe myself as a Black person. I'm a displaced African because
Absolutely.
the lineage of people who were stolen from Africa and who worked as slaves, they were enslaved here. And I think it's only natural to say, well, I need to be taken care of. What am I going to do for me? Because I need to take care of me and my family. But that's where that sacrifice kind of comes in, right? And we have to understand, what does it look like to sacrifice yourself for the community,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Real, let's kid, we love to talk about Christianity and we love to talk about people like Abraham and Isaac. And sometimes I reflect on that relationship between Abraham and Isaac and how Isaac was willing to be sacrificed and Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac. And
Right.
it represented lifestyle, not
Yeah.
an life, right? Ask myself, what about your lifestyle are you willing to sacrifice for the community?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to push that to those who are in leadership positions or those who are trying to lead us to somewhere better. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be you're going to have to also rely on the community.
Oh,
You're okay. Some people aren't with that. A lot of people are only in leadership positions because they're trying to get something. They're trying to get something. And that's why the trust has gone away, right? That was almost like a rusting away of that trust in that relationship. So people used to trust in the church and they used to trust in religious people. And then they started saying, oh, y'all just like them.
yep.
Just like them. So they said, I'm not going to. They used to trust in the schoolhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all just like them. Y'all not really taking care of the kids, or there was a breakdown in the house. But you think about like your grandparents.
Yeah.
You trust your grandparents. They give you some advice, you gonna take it. Because
Absolutely.
grandpa, Mima and Peepaw ain't really trying to set me up on no okey doke. They
That's right.
okay. And I think we have to look at those competencies. We have to ask ourselves, why do you have to be that old for us to finally trust you?
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
That old. For
Yeah.
okay, there's little to no chance that you try to get over on me. We're
Right.
still trusting you early on.
Yeah, and I kind of do this exercise with young people because I know for me, I didn't listen to my mom, my dad. They told me, they used the old saying like, I've been there, I did it already. I did it so you ain't have to do it, right? And I noticed that, just going back, I didn't listen to my mom and my dad with their advice that they gave me. My mom didn't listen to her mom and her dad. They probably didn't listen to their mom and their dad. And it can go back all the way to, we don't know how far, right? So what I do is I give a challenge to young people and I say, hey, listen, that's how that goes, right? But let's go ahead and try to break this cycle and let's take this from me, right? And just try. I'm not telling you you got to listen. I'm asking you to make a decision, make a choice to try to take what I'm saying and put it into action. Now, if it works, cool. You know what I'm saying? You continue on and you take this lesson as a lesson learned and you move in this way. If it don't work, you come back to me and we need to talk about why it didn't work, right? But oftentimes it's just because we get people that are so in their own head, want to see if it's going to work their way, right? Because that's how I was. Like, I just got to try it my way first. Yeah, you told me this way. And then it's like years down the line that I'm like, oh, I'm going to try it their way now. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So again, I think it goes back to us being willing to take the responsibility to break the cycles that we've been conditioned in, because we haven't been conditioned to have a cultural guardian, right? We haven't been conditioned. So this is something where as a community we say enough is enough. We are tired of seeing the things happening in our community and we want to, and we make a choice to implement this type of radical change, this type of bold change, in order to get some real results, instead of, us just saying, okay, this person, got attacked by the police, now we all coming out to fight, right? We have to get to a point where we're not afraid. We can't continue to be afraid of being, I would say, radical, and being bold and saying, look, this is what we need and this is what we need to do. Period. Because, go ahead.
Part to that too is we have to draw a very clear line to why we're saying we need this person, right?
Yeah.
Because we're doing this very weird thing, right? And it's bothered me for a while, and I find it difficult to articulate my thoughts around it. But we're doing this thing where we want to come out and we want to protest and we want to do these things in a large theatrical fashion outside.
Yeah.
Real work is quiet and inside, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guardians are actually supposed to be in the house. And we don't have a cultural guardian is because the Black family has been attacked in some ways, right? So the dad has been yanked out of the picture, the grandma been yanked out of the picture, the grandpa been yanked out of the picture. You don't have those cultural guardians in the house.
Yeah.
The result should be that every family has a cultural guardian within them, right?
Ooh, yes.
Have to keep reiterating that, right? We're only talking about this because of the ravaging that's happened to our community, right?
Right.
Left alone, there would be cultural in our house, and those cultural guardians would be working together to amplify the values that have been set up by the community, but they've been yanked out, right? So we have to start to challenge ourselves to say, I'm glad that you want to come out and protest, because I do think that protest is necessary, and I'm glad that you're making signs, and I'm glad that you rah, rah, rah. But what are you doing in your home? What are you doing in your house? What are you doing to restore balance on the smallest level so that that can grow? Because that's what's natural. What's natural is that something happens at a very seed, it's a seed level. It starts small and then it grows out. So you can't have this role and be like, oh, one cultural guardian is going to be responsible for all of North Chicago. No, that don't make no sense. And you're not going to get no trust like that. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to tell you their business. And you shouldn't want them telling you their business. What you should be doing is telling people and helping people understand that you need a cultural guardian in your home. And let me listen to the bridge that you have to build in order to get there.
That's good. That's real good. Because I believe that we have them, because there's people, that had that, Big Mama come around, you definitely gonna listen. You know what I'm saying? Some of the people that, raised me in my village, they say something, I'm definitely gonna listen. And they have that effect on the community, many people. So I think that you're right. That right there would be dope. Okay, so let me ask this question. In that respect, if we could move in that way, how would we bridge the gap? And I know we've talked about this before, bridging the gap between our elderly and our younger people.
I think it goes back to what we talked about in our last session when we talked about those rehabilitation centers, right? So this is the leadership and saying we need money because we need to make these buildings, because what's going to happen, I'm going to be honest with you, we've seen it. There's some damaged, wounded in the place to. So even if you put the most stellar system in place, you're still gonna have people who say, excuse my French, I don't get no fuck. I don't want to listen to nobody. I don't like y'all pain. I need to thrash.
Yeah.
We want to have a place for them already so that we can say, look, we can't have you in here causing the ruckus. That's not gonna go. So
right.
Let you know that that's not an option. The option is not for you to continue spewing in the community. But we have another option for you, which is a rehabilitation space where you can get the mental health services, where you can get the counseling that you need to deal with the issues that keep you from trusting someone.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
I think over time, again, we have to talk about, we got to be patient with each other because it's going to take time, right? When you set a bone, you got to put it in that cast and you got to wait for the body to attach it back. And even once you put that bone back together, there's always going to be that little break in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Have to know that this is going to be a slow process, but we have to say we all believe in it.
Yeah.
That this is the path that we should be going, and we got to keep building the bridge, or else we're going to end up in those troubled waters again, like in now. And that's what I really want. That's what I want to hear from leaders. Where are the rehabilitation centers? Where are the programs? And that's why you and I, we're doing the work with the Lake County Health Department to try to talk about mental health first aid and try to using language that says you having a mental health challenge right now, bro.
Yeah.
Like not just you having just a rough Wednesday. This is an actual crisis.
Yeah.
This kind of assistance. And once we get those people in a space where they can be helped by people who can truly help them, right? Then the community can start to kind of just like mend itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I
do. That's good. That's some good stuff. So let's okay. What are this is good, y'all. This is good. Y'all, I want a cultural guardian, Let me get my people in order. Cause when we get this together, I'm gonna be like, we delegating you. What are some of the boundaries that must be protected, whether we have official cultural guardians or not?
So I have the North Chicago think tank, and one of the things that I really promote is intellectual property.
Yes.
I always tell my Black, Indigenous people that you are brilliant.
Yeah.
You cannot continue thinking that you are dumb. That's the first boundary.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Absolutely.
For the entire community, I don't speak for all Black people, but for me, like, your brain is so powerful, and it's the first thing to be colonized. And once you colonize that mind, everything else just follows. Everything just goes because it's kind of shackled. So I'd say that I really want our people to start to say, I invent some pretty cool stuff. I create some cool stuff. I can come up with some solutions. I can make some stuff happen if I really wanted to. So let me protect that. And a very basic example of that is I see our kids giving everything to TikTok. They're giving everything to Instagram. They're giving everything. They're just giving everything. And it's brilliant. Everything that they're giving is brilliant. I love it. But you can see it just being siphoned. You can just see, just watching. They're just going through the content. And they say, oh, that's brilliant. I'm taking it. Right? And then you say, oh, man, I thought of that. They're making all of this money off of that,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is one boundary. Our mind. The next, our mental, is our physical body. We don't have no boundaries regarding what is going in our body and what's happening.
Yes.
We have to say, there's some things that are just not good for us. North Chicago Think Tank is fighting to continue amplifying the need for us to have healthy food sources in North Chicago. And talking about just, you got a corner store full of Skittles and hot Cheetos. I'm saying that you have food and drink that give you vitamins, that healthy body, and you have boundaries on it. You're saying, I don't want to ingest something that is that. I don't want to ingest something that is going to make me have high blood pressure, or that's going to make me have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Make me have a stroke. In Mexico, they make, if something has excessive sugar or excessive salt or excessive fat, they make them put that on the front of the package. They make them put that on the front of the package right now, but it literally says very big: excessive sugar, excessive fat. right? So if we start to put those boundaries up to say, you need to respect my brain, and you need to not talk to me like I'm crazy, and you need to stop trying to steal my ideas. I feel you doing that.
Yeah.
Next, you need to stop trying to come for my body. Stop trying to make me sick. You're trying to make me sick, and that's making it impossible for me to be a benefit to my community.
There you go. Yeah.
And hopefully, our guardians will start to support those messages. But those are some boundaries that we have to put up. And I think the third one, if I had to do my top three, it would be our relationship, our healthy relationships with each other.
Each other. Yeah.
No reason us doing all of this work to stop people from killing us and we're still this violent. And I'm talking verbally, I'm talking physically, I'm talking all of that. I don't believe in the term black on black violence. I think it's a whole racist perception. But I do think that we don't have to be violent with each other. We don't have
Right.
to. There
Right.
are boundaries we can say, don't do that because you're my brother, or
Right.
you're my lover, or you're my cousin, whatever you are. Those boundaries have to be in place, and they have to be strong.
Yeah.
We can't backslide on those because we've been backsliding, and music and the movies and all of it has been kind of teaching people to backslide, to say you don't deserve the best, you don't
Yeah.
do well, you don't deserve to be chosen.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can see even now, I'm noticing in the black community this weird kind of infiltration of polygamy, right? It's starting to pop up, and people starting to say, "Oh, polygamy," and I'm like, "But is it polygamy though, or are y'all doing some weird stuff where women are just like what? Well, what exactly is going on?" And I think it makes me realize why boundaries have to be set.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even with it's so funny because I was having a conversation today, and someone went to a doctor, and it's called a doe, but she actually does, like everything, right? Holistic and all of that. And it was so funny because we're both from Illinois, and we were saying, like, how easy would it be for us to find a doctor in that magnitude at home, versus here, in Georgia, where, it's a lot more of us. You get what I'm saying? And we should have that right to be able to find doctors that are our same color, that are black, and we should be able to find everything that we need. We should be able to go to one of our people or one of our brothers and our sisters and say, hey, we need this service. But it's becoming a problem because we don't all have that same luxury, and we should, and it goes back to us having, like the directories to kind of keep up with our black owned businesses and things like that. If we could do it for black owned businesses, we should be able to do it for everything. You know what I'm saying? Like everything, like,
But
because
I'm gonna be
go ahead.
honest. I think Black history is so important. If you look at I'm gonna forget his name, but he created the Green Book. He created the Green Book, and he man, why can't I remember his name? He would travel back and forth from the south to the north, and he started keeping track of where it was that you could go to be safe. So where you could get gas.
Victor Hugo Green.
Go Green. Victor
Yeah.
Victor Hugo Green was a brilliant man, and he created the Green Book, which assisted Black families in getting from the South to the North without being murdered. It was really about them being safe, and we have to reiterate to ourselves that it's still that situation.
It is still that situation. Yes.
People want to pretend like we aren't still being murdered, like there's still not systemic racism coming specifically for our bodies, and we have to do that Victor Hugo Green work. We got,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be honest. When I was living in India, they used to have this saying. I think I've said this before. They said before something gets to the news, the aunties already know. They
That
used
part.
say before something gets reported to the news, the aunties already know, because when they hang in the laundry or they're doing whatever around the house, they know they watching, they seeing
They
everything.
watching and they see. Yep.
You know, we have to get back there, right?
Yeah.
Saying word of mouth is just as powerful for us. We got a small group, and we're gonna make sure everybody know what's going on, and it don't even have to be on social media. We could just
Oh
tell
yeah.
each other. And if there's a doctor that's good, we book that doctor fully. We give that doctor all of our money.
I
We,
love it.
you know, and we still struggle with that, right? Because we still value each other. When we
Hmm.
business, we very much like devalue it first, right? We have to
Yeah.
say, oh, mm, I would much rather go to a white owned business or a European owned business because I just think it's better, right? We
Yeah.
delusion or that, yeah.
And I think if we had the guardian, the cultural guardian, I think even in that aspect, say for instance, if one of our brothers and our sisters was in business and they was, kind of falling by the wayside and they were getting complaints, that would be something that we would be able to take to the cultural guardian, and we will be able to help them, not just, throw them to the wolves and say we're not doing business with you. But I think that it's something that, number one, I think that a lot of us, we have a problem with feedback and constructive criticism and things like that. So I think, that goes along with the rehab, making sure that we can accept truth, truthful things that would be beneficial to us. Um, so I think that would be something that would be good, that we would be able to work on as well, because we don't have to, dog our brothers and our sisters when they, not doing right in business. I know for me, I'm big on customer service because I've been a customer service representative for all my life. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to my business, I'm big on making sure that I'm doing things for the customer in a, a way of excellence for customer service. You get what I'm saying? Everybody might not have had that same experience with customer service. So they may have a bomb product, but lack in customer service. And they just need a little bit of help. That's for us to come through and be able to help one another, not dog each other out and be like, we done with them. So that's
So
something that could be worked on.
that goes back to um, solidarity, right? We always talk about unity, but before you get to unity, before you are unified, there's solidarity where you just say, you know what? When it comes to radical radio, they rock and roll it. That's that's it. And I think that takes practice. That takes
It does.
practice.
Yeah.
Always say, and it takes bravery, right? So if somebody comes to you and they're like, man, I don't really like radical radio because bam. Hey, bro, I don't even want to be part of this conversation because I'm in solidarity with radical radio. If you
Right.
want with radical radio to repair whatever is happening in our community, that's great. But I can't participate in any kind of dissension. I can't
Yeah.
any kind of like negative energy spreading, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we struggle with that. We have to learn how to say, when Issa Rae came to that award show and she said, I'm rooting for everybody black. That was such a radical statement, but that's how it goes for every other culture.
For
That's
real.
for every
For
other
real.
thing that was really radical. It was just because it was a black statement. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the kind of work that I do internally, right? If I'm with my brother and I'm like, my brother is succeeding, I'm asking myself, are you envious? Are you jealous? What are you doing to root that out? Are you
Absolutely.
doing as well as he, or whatever is
Yeah.
fully being supportive of that brother, that sister? You have to do that internal work. And that's why if we had a rehab center, I'm checking myself in too. This ain't a everybody else got to work kind of situation. We talk about the
Yeah,
black.
because we ain't arrived. We still got work to do internally. For real.
Yeah, yeah.
For real. And I think that's big, when we get to that place where we just know that. Hold on. My child and came in here without his key. I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, I just think that would be dope for us to get to that place where we could, actually evaluate ourselves. I try to do self-evaluation all the time just because I know, sometimes, residue comes back. So sometimes you have to reevaluate yourself and make sure that you're aligned with who you want to be and where you're trying to go. So, it works.
Yeah.
This was good. Listen, y'all, I need, for those of you that are on here, you can go to the North Chicago Think Tanks page and share your thoughts on our conversation. We really want this to be more interactive. We do a lot of talking amongst ourselves all the time. These are the type of conversations that we have all the time. But we really want to hear from you guys. We really want to hear, what if these things would fit for your community, if the things that we're talking about will fit your community, and what you think about it. Because at the end of the day, we're just it's just two of us here. We want to, engage conversation with you all too. So if you do feel led, go to the North Chicago Think Tank page, or you can go to the Radical Radio page and just let us know how you're feeling about the series and, the content that we're bringing. As we said at the beginning, we want to make sure that we are flourishing, thriving, and prospering in our communities. And that's the goal. So yeah, just make sure you hit us up. We want to hear from you guys, not just, us. That's it.
Definitely follow on the North Chicago Think Tank Instagram page. We are highlighting all of the amazing Black educators and staff from North Chicago Community High School from all the way to, from now up until March. We are highlighting we're trying to highlight every Black educator and staff from North Chicago Community High School who has positively impacted us. We're trying to make it a regular instance for us to just shout out the Black people closest to us that are Black history. Sometimes when we celebrate Black history, we go so far and we talk about the people like Frederick Douglass and, others that are so far from us, but there's Black history so near to us, and we want to just keep
yes. And I'm looking at the content now, y'all. It's so dope. And wait, we can't let you go until you tell us about the award that you got last week while we weren't on Wednesday, sir.
Oh, okay. Yes, State Rep Rita Mayfield nominated the North Chicago Think Tank for the Illinois Black Caucus. The award was the Generation Next Award. So they really talked about people who were taking leadership in the community and focusing on mental health and focusing on physical health and just really, keeping the well-being of the community in mind. And we were awarded, and we are so grateful. And we shouted out Radical Radio. We shouted out Mano a Mano and the Boys and Girls Club of Lake County, Rosalind Franklin University of Science and Medicine, UI. Yes. So many people are working together to support, community development. And we just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's been trying. It's been some tough couple of years.
Yes. And, I was just so excited for you because I know the work that you put in. I just want you guys to know that, like, this is not just talk. Billy, he goes through and he's doing research, and he really, really, really does a lot of this back, the backlog work, that needs to be done to bring this type of content, and, to even bring the thought-provoking conversations that we have. Like, it's really amazing to be able to sit down and talk to somebody and really, vibe on things that would change our community, because we could sit down and we could probably talk about a whole bunch of mess all day long, but to be able to sit down with my brother and we really, have great dialogue just on, changing our mindsets, changing our community, and doing better and living better and thriving flourishing and prospering. It's just a breath of fresh air to be able to have these conversations. And as I said in one show, I think we were talking in one show, we were just saying, like, I would just love to be able to have a roundtable discussion where we have these type of discussions, these thought provoking, discussions that provoke this change. Like, it would be amazing, y'all. So we all gotta, try to get in where we fit in, and start having more of these conversations. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Radical Talk with the North Chicago Think Tank. We are here every other Wednesday, and we will be bringing, more content, more dialogue. We will be doing this bonus series all the way up until May. So we have a lot more, that we want to talk about. So I thank everyone that joined us this evening. I hope to see you guys back when we return. As always, be you, be free, and be radical. We appreciate you guys so much.
Peace. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Hey, dreamers. In this life, nothing is promised to be perfect. But with a little hard work and support, we can make it all worth it. Hi, I'm Maxi, owner of Eleanor Maxwell. We're a business support company specializing in admin support for businesses, show production, events, and more. And guess what? I just self-published my first book, All My Broken Crayons Still Color, available now on Amazon. So, Eleanor Maxwell, follow, like, subscribe, all social media platforms. Let us help you blow through whatever it is you're going through.
Yeah.